Hey guys, Mr. Fritz here. So what are we going to do? I have a setup for you. It's a fun treat. You get to play with matter. It's going to be an awesome time. It's called the lab that I call the Ice Cream Dream Lab. So what are we going to do? We're going to make ice cream at home. You can do this at home. Please ask your parents for permission. Get their help. Make them some ice cream. It's a delicious treat. Do this anytime during this week. So what do we got here? Well, I have some whole milk that I'm going to use. It doesn't matter the brand. I like the whole milk. It's nice and creamy. Even though I don't drink whole milk, it's okay. I've got some heavy whipping cream. Okay, you're going to need the heavy whipping cream. If you have real vanilla, it's going to taste super good. But I'm going to go ahead and use the imitation vanilla because that's what I got. Don't judge me. But I do have imitation vanilla. It's going to still be delicious. I got a little bit of Hershey's chocolate for later. That's up to you if you want to use that. Just a drizzle, just a little bit to accent it. I have a container that has a good amount of ice in it, and that's what's going to help us remove some of the thermal energy from the liquids and change the state of matter. I also have some sugar set up. So I've got the sugar ready to go. I got about 32 grams of sugar. If you want to know any of the measurements for my recipe, just click on the tutorial. It has the directions all labeled out. Now, of course, they're going to be in metric because we don't use, the other stuff, like half a cup and stuff like that, which we're going to use. But a half a cup's going to help you in a lot of stuff. I also am going to need some salt. Okay. Now, I don't want you going in and taking all the salt. You're not going to need that much salt. It's, about a third of a cup or so. 75 grams will work just fine. Okay. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take my Ziploc bag. It's real simple stuff. I'm going to take my Ziploc bag here, and I'm going to measure out my half cup. Make sure you wash your dirty hands before this. Did I say dirty hands out loud? Yes, I did, because you're middle schoolers. I know who you are. Wash your hands before you do anything, okay? Just like everything. So I'm going to pour a half a cup of milk right there, and I'm going to pour, don't spill on the floor. Pour it right into my Ziploc bag. Just pour it in. Just pour it in. This is going to be a single serving. If you want to make more for like your family and stuff, you're going to have to, multiply any of the measurements, okay, like you've learned in facts class. I'm also going to be right now, you can't see it, but it's got a little pop top for the heavy whipping cream. Now the heavy whipping cream, the recipe says to hold 120 milliliters of heavy whipping cream. Well, I have a half cup, which is about that much. So I'm going to also pour the same amount. It's a lot thicker than milk, okay? Way thicker than the milk. So then, don't spill. All I got to do, dump that right into my Ziploc bag. That's all I have to do. Now, the next step, we're going to also add the vanilla. Now, the vanilla is only going to be 1.2 milliliters. It's just a couple of drops. That's it, okay? Use a spoon. The next thing that we've got to do is add the sugar. Okay, that's going to give it the sweetness. So I have my sugar already measured out. Why do I keep thinking the camera's over here when it's over here? I'm going bananas. I've got the sugar. Dump the sugar in there. You could add more or less. Test it out first. Follow my directions and then adjust the recipe to your taste afterwards, okay? So I put the ingredients in here. Now, what I like to do, because I'm a scientist, I have a thermometer, and usually I don't use the F word, Fahrenheit. We usually use Celsius, but for this, I'm going to use Fahrenheit just so we have a temperature gauge. I'm going to stick this in the liquid because I want you to pay attention to this. Right now, the current temp is 57 degrees Fahrenheit. 55. Now it's at 55. It's hard to see. What's going on? It looks like a reflection. Oh, it looks like in my screen it's backwards. So it says 53 degrees Fahrenheit now. Now, what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to take this, and how do I make an ice cream? Do I have to stick it in the freezer? No, I don't have to stick it in the freezer. I keep looking over here, and it's right here. I am sorry. I'm not going to stick it in the freezer. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to zip it really well. I might even get some of the air out, just a little bit. Not too much of the air out, though. I'm going to shut it. Make sure there's no leaks, because that would be weak. And now, we're going to fast forward, and I'm going to shake this in the ice. Let's see what happens. Now I'm going to check on the ice cream real quick. I'm going to pause. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to feel it. It's starting to get there. It's starting to get to that ice cream, but it still needs to solidify a little bit more, so I've got to shake it for a little bit. It takes like 10 to 15 minutes, so bear with me on this. Now that we've shaken our ice cream for like 10 to 15 minutes, we get to check it out again. So I'm gonna open this up. Now my fingers are a little cold, so you might wanna wear gloves. I also should have reminded you at the beginning of this, with that salt, you pour the salt over the ice. Okay, that helps bring the temperature down, because I don't know if you know this, salt water at a lower temperature freezes, just like at a lower temperature it boils. That's why people put salt in their pasta water. So let's check this out. I'm gonna open the container. Here comes the reveal. Ooh, I spilled some water on me. Don't judge me. Now, it feels like I got ice cream in a bag here, folks. It has that consistency, but there's a couple of things. Let's check the temperature. That's the first thing. So I've got my thermometer. I'll tell you what the temperature is. Before it was at like 50 degrees. My fingers are cold. My fingers are cold. I'm gonna stick it in here. Let's see what we get in here. Oh, it's dropping. It's dropping. It's below the freezing, which freezing for water is 32 degrees. I'm getting readings of 19 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, let's look at the consistency here. Let's take a taste. That's not shabby. That's pretty good. Now, if you're like me and cannot wait, you can just go ahead and eat it out the bag. Now, you might also want to scoop it into bowls if you make more of this for like family and friends. It's going to be hard to see, so I'm going to take a spoonful out. Now, remember, it was a liquid before, right? I didn't put it in the freezer. I just shook the salt ice around it. Look at that. Look at that. This is ice cream right here. Got some on my hands. Matter can be so delicious. Going from a liquid to a solid by removing the thermal energy, we went from a liquid to solid, which is a freezing technique, and we have our ice cream. Now, what some folks might have some issues, some people go, Mr. Fritz, my ice cream got salty. That's because your bag had a hole in it and some of the salt water from the ice got in there. So be careful of that. So make sure your bags don't have holes in them. Some people like to serve them. And if you take a pair of scissors and cut this, you can squeeze it out into your little cups, Dixie cups, bowls. Depends how you want to make it. So it's up to you. If you want to add toppings, go ahead. What I'd like to see you do is if you can make ice cream at home and you get to do this at home, you have the supplies, your parents get them, whatever you do, I want to see you send a selfie of you with your ice cream, enjoying your ice cream, or maybe a picture with you and your family, okay? I look forward to seeing those, okay? I hope you get to enjoy what I like to call the lab of the ice cream dream. Enjoy, folks.